Good Thursday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, we made it over the hump, and we're in the home stretch towards the weekend. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Thursday. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you'll be part of my conversation with three-time Olympic gold medalist Rowdy Gaines. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Thursday headlines. In national news, House backs commission on January 6 riot over GOP objections. The House voted Wednesday to create an independent commission on the deadly January 6 insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, sending the legislation to an uncertain future in the Senate as Republican leaders work to stop a bipartisan investigation that is opposed by former President Donald Trump. Democrats say an independent investigation is crucial to reckoning what happened that day when a violent mob of Trump supporters smashed into the Capitol to try and overturn President Joe Biden's victory. Modeled after the investigation into the September 11, 2001 attacks, the legislation would establish an independent, 10-member commission that would make recommendations by the end of the year for securing the Capitol and preventing another insurrection. The bill passed the House 252 to 175, with 35 Republicans voting with Democrats in supporting of the commission, defying Trump and House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy. Trump issued a statement urging Republicans to vote against it, calling the legislation a Democrat trap. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell is trying to prevent defections among his own ranks, echoing McCarthy's opposition in his Senate floor speech Wednesday morning. Both men claim the bill was partisan, even though membership of the proposed commission will be evenly split between the parties. The January insurrection has become an increasingly fraught topic for Republicans, with a growing number in the party downplaying the severity of the worst attack on the Capitol in more than 200 years. While most Republicans voted against forming the commission, only a few spoke on the floor against it, and the handful of Republicans who backed the commission spoke forcefully. Democrats grew angry as some Republicans suggested the commission was only intended to smear Trump. Several shared their own memories of the insurrection when rioters brutally beat police, broke in through windows and doors, and sent lawmakers running. 4 of the rioters died, including a woman who was shot and killed by police as she tried to break into the House chamber. A Capitol police officer collapsed and died after engaging with the protesters, and 2 officers took their own lives in the days after. In more national news, city in transition, New York vies to turn page on pandemic. More than a year after coronavirus shutdowns sent the city that never sleeps into a fitful slumber, New York could be wide awake again this summer. Starting on Wednesday, vaccinated New Yorkers could shed their mask in most situations, and restaurants, stores, gyms, and other businesses could go back to full capacity if they ascertain that all patrons have been inoculated. Subways resume running around the clock this week. Midnight curfews for bars and restaurants will be gone by month's end. Broadway tickets are on sale again, though the curtain won't rise on any shows until September. Officials say now is New York's moment to shake off the image of a city brought to its knees by the virus last spring. Is the Big Apple back to its old brash self? Maybe 75%. It's definitely coming back to life, said Mark Kumar, a 24-year-old personal trainer. Last spring, the biggest city in America was also the nation's deadliest coronavirus hotspot, the site of over 21,000 deaths in just 2 months. In entertainment news, pioneer comic Paul Mooney, a writer for Pryor, dies at 79. Paul Mooney, the boundary-pushing comedian who was Richard Pryor's longtime writing partner and whose bold, incisive musings on racism in American life made him a revered figure in stand-up, has died. Cassandra Williams, Mooney's publicist, said he died Wednesday morning at his home in Oakland, California from a heart attack. Mooney's friendship and collaboration with Pryor began in 1968 and lasted until Pryor's death in 2005. Together, they confronted racism perhaps more directly than it ever has been done on stage. At a time when nearly all television writers were white, Mooney and Pryor first wrote episodes for the sitcom Sanford and Son together. They continued on the short-lived 1978 variety program, The Richard Pryor Show. Mooney helped write many of Pryor's classic comedy albums, including Is It Something I Said? And Live on the Sunset Strip. And finally, in business news, stocks fall for a third day, Bitcoin sinks after a wild ride. Wall Street racked up more losses Wednesday as the stock market pulled back for the third straight day. The broad sell-off went beyond stocks, with the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies falling sharply. The S&P 500 index dropped 0.3% after recovering from a 1.6 slide earlier in the day. The benchmark index is on track for its second weekly loss in a row. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, it's all yours.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Focus on the big picture. Focusing on the big picture will help you to focus on the dilemma our humanity is in, so you can do your part to make the world a better place. Thoughts are focused only on the minute details of life. It can be difficult for you to see how your actions affect your community, let alone the planet. When you keep the big picture in mind, it allows you to see how all people and all actions are interconnected. We all influence each other. You are now more adept to want to make a positive contribution to the world. You understand the result of your work will benefit everyone you touch. As you concentrate on the big picture, you will not lose sight of your ability to change the world in even a small way. And no contribution by any person is ever too small. Today, make a contribution to touch someone's life, and they in turn will touch another life. Enjoy the day.
Three-time Olympic gold medalist Rowdy Gaines is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight, right here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Rowdy Gaines, three-time Olympic gold medalist, joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about pool safety and what you need to know as you're heading out this summer. Here's a bit of our conversation. So, Rowdy, I think one of the big things people are wondering about, even though, we do feel a lot better than we did this time last year, they're worrying about safety when it comes to a lot of things, including, of course, spending time at the pool. COVID-19 is something they should be concerned about as they're heading out to the pool this year.
I think the most important thing to remember, Cyrus, and you're right, I think most Americans are cautiously optimistic. You mentioned that survey where it says 70% Americans planning to swim. That's versus like 52% last year. But this is according to the CDC, that there's no evidence that COVID-19 can be spread to people through pool water. In fact, it's just the opposite. Properly chlorinated water actually kills the virus. So I think everybody needs to respect the rules and the regulations that different facilities and aquatic arenas have. But really, it's something that people really should be excited about, getting back in the pool, because that brings a lot of joy to a lot of kids, especially in this country. The most important thing is to just make sure you follow the procedures. But let's get those kids in the water, and let's make sure they know how to swim by putting them in swim lessons.
So, the survey we're talking about is the Healthy Pool Survey. What were some of the other findings that caught your attention this year?
Well, I think a lot of Americans are concerned about pool capacity. I think that's their biggest concern. It's not so much being in the water and swimming. I think it's being on the deck, and I think that's one of the things that these different companies and water facilities, just making sure that they clean the pool properly, meaning the chlorine has to be properly maintained, but also cleaning the deck and the locker rooms.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll be back with you guys on tomorrow to wrap up this week. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make today amazing. Take care.